Yo, 3 things that take Bitcoin to $5 million per coin are officially in place. All the obstacles that have stopped Bitcoin from being adopted by corporations and institutional capital is officially gone. These 3 catalysts is going to make 2025 make up for the letdown that was 2021. And if you still don't believe me, hear it from the man, the myth, the legend, the Chad Saylor himself, because he's the one actually that was talking about this. So let's check out the clip. Here we go.
And then I think there's 3 big. Look, first of all, it's going up by a factor of 10 whether they fix any of the stuff, right? It's going to go it's going to be a grind up by a factor of 10 just because gold is broken and Bitcoin's going to replace gold. And now everybody in the universe knows they need a non-sovereign store of value in the form of a bearer instrument. So now they're looking, the amount of stories. For last year, people said inflation may be coming. We're not sure. Now the mainstream narrative is flipped to inflation is here. You need an inflation hedge. So it's going to grind up to replace gold. It'll go to $500,000 a coin, regardless of whether they fix these things. But there are 3 things that are massive catalysts that cause an acceleration. And I don't think that those 3 things don't take us to 500,000. They take us to 5 million a coin, right? Those 3 things are a spot ETF where someone can go ahead and buy $100 million of Bitcoin, buy a security, an ETF security. I think that's 1. 2 is your bank is going to custody it for you and lend against it. And 3 is I can mark it up or mark it down on my balance sheet based on fair value. Pari passu. It'll be pari passu to the way I'd handle Apple stock, or at least that good. If you have property with fair value accounting, by the way, it becomes pari passu to the way you'd handle treasury bonds on a treasury balance sheet. Treasuries are better than stocks because treasury is property, whereas a stock is a security, and you're capped out at 40% of your balance sheet as security. So it would be a major, major breakthrough if you saw any of those 3 things. And I'll end with this one observation. I tweeted this last week, but I think it's very powerful. It's if the banks can hold this stuff on their balance sheet, then a whole new class of investors are going to buy it. People are going to put in billion and multi-billion-dollar orders to buy it as a treasury asset. Nobody's going to sell it because there's no reason to sell it if you can borrow against it at LIBOR plus or at SOFR plus 50 basis points, right? So you'll be borrowing against Bitcoin at SOFR plus 50 or SOFR plus 100 basis points. No one's ever going to sell it. And then, as I joked, you won't be able to afford it. I mean, you will be able to afford it, but everybody gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. When the banks normalize it and you can draw a $100 million credit line at 100 basis points from an FDIC insured bank, at that point, right, we're going to blow through the market cap of gold by a factor of 10.
Right.
So
that is absolutely freaking insane. Yes, that's right. Today's video was not clickbait whatsoever. All these 3 things have come into effect. When Saylor first originally brought this up, it was back in 2020, back in 2022 when he did that Spaces, and he was predicting, listen, we need these 3 things for Bitcoin to hit $5 million per coin. And he was talking about the gold market cap earlier on. If Bitcoin reaches a gold market cap, I think it's like $700,000 or $800,000 per coin. So, and Saylor's not talking about that. He's talking about $5 million Bitcoin. And he, explained his logic during that clip that I played for you guys. So just to kind of give a recap, what are those 3 things? Number 1, approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Number 2, traditional bank custody of Bitcoin. And number 3, and the reason that we're talking about this today, fair value accounting rules from the FASB. So FASB. So this rule change went into account yesterday, December 15, 2024. So now it's official. The 3 things that Saylor said needed to happen in order for Bitcoin to hit $5 million per coin have all happened. The FASB accounting rules, the ability for banks to custody Bitcoin. Here's an article which we broke to you guys when it was the news back in September 25th. BNY gets the SEC's go ahead to custody crypto assets. That's absolutely massive. And of course, you guys all remember the launch of the Bitcoin ETF earlier on this year on January 10th, 2024. So, I mean, this is absolutely bonkers, and it continues a trend that we've been talking about on Simply Bitcoin for a while now, that it looks like 2025, all the stars and planets and everything else are aligning for a 2017-esque type of bull run, which is extremely, extremely exciting. So anyways, I'm joined on the show today with the founder and CEO of Foundation Devices. They're absolutely awesome. They make one of the best Bitcoin-only hardware wallets ever. And of course, I'm joined with my legendary co-host, who's always optimistic, Optimus Fields. And we have a special announcement for you guys later on the show. You guys are going to have to stay tuned to the culture segment. Foundation Zach is going to be he's going to be revealing hopefully a product release, a new product that is going to be dropping by those guys. I got to see it. It's dope. It's awesome. Looks great. And we have all the details for you guys on today's show. But anyways, before we jump into it, I do want to get Opti's opinions on this. I mean, dude, three things. They all got checked off. That list is completely checked off. And mind you, when Saylor was doing these spaces, Bitcoin was sitting at like $20,000, $30,000 per coin, right? So, we've come a long way. And, I feel the bullishness. I think, look, and we're going to talk about this during the numbers segment, because I went on a Twitter rampage last night where, we're having, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 price movements, and we don't feel anything. No one feels anything. I feel dead inside. So we're going to talk about the psychology as to why that is happening. And essentially, the TLDR is, in percentage terms, you guys have to understand, above 100K, a $1,000 price swing is 1%, right? That's why you don't feel anything. That's why it's not exciting, right? So a $10,000 price swing at $100,000 is 10%. That, like, in the grand, we're used to more in Bitcoin land, right? So, I'm meaning it to life. $50,000 candles, or, it's boring. And I also want to celebrate Bitcoin breaking an all-time high. We're sitting at $107,101. I'm currently on the go right now. So I don't have Satoshi the Bitcoin chicken, but he's clucking in spirit right now. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on Saylor's predictions coming true? Do you think we'll see $5 million Bitcoin sooner rather than later?
Well, it really does feel like that. I mean, a million here to a million here is only a 10x, which in this larger scheme of Bitcoin land isn't too out of the conversation. Obviously, it's bigger numbers, so we're still kind of like thinking this isn't going to happen. That seems crazy to see in a year, but who knows? Especially when you kind of consider everything that's going on, whether it's the strategic Bitcoin reserve announcements going global, whether it's institutional capital coming into Bitcoin, whether it's the amount of actual Bitcoin that is getting scooped up by the ETFs. And now with this new FASB accounting rule finally going into play, I think really all of the obstacles that have gotten in the way of Bitcoin being adopted by institutional capital is like finally out of the window. So now you're starting to see, and this has been kind of the larger conversation around Bitcoin for the last couple of years, is we've all been, Nico, when you and I got in around 2017, the raging meme was institutional capital is coming, and it didn't happen for like 4 years. Well, now we know that, in fact, the institutional capital is here. They want your Bitcoin. There is obviously there's a growing conversation going on. My bad, guys. There's a growing conversation going on right now about the fervor and the FOMO that is happening from Wall Street wanting that Bitcoin. We constantly double down on the idea that Bitcoin is the best performing asset, even though you guys know my take on the whole digital asset thing. But hey, the gains are clear. It's very obvious that if you don't have Bitcoin, you are kind of losing in the digital landscape. And now all of those obstacles are out of the way. And this FASB accounting rule, I think, is going to be huge for 2025 and allowing all of these corporations to very seriously take Bitcoin into consideration, because before, they were only able to value their Bitcoin at the lowest price they bought it. And that means they usually had to record losses on it. But now they can account for the gains in Bitcoin. So that is going to fundamentally change how people view Bitcoin, because now it's kind of going to be that micro strategy where, hey, if you add some Bitcoin to your balance sheet, you can add those gains to, your market cap, to your profit and losses on your company balance sheet. And that means shareholder value is going up. So now it's obviously a beautiful incentive for these people to start to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. But like someone said in the chat, as a Bitcoiner, as someone that is in kind of the whole separate money from state, like not very much being a fan of banks. A lot of people are like, I'm not here for the banks to acquire Bitcoin. We knew this was going to happen, and it is what it is. But now we know that, hey, institutional capital is very clearly going to be here. I'm sure we're going to see very quick mindset shifts in the next couple of months, and everyone's going to want some Bitcoin. So, hey, maybe a 10x from here isn't that far out of the picture. Maybe the gold market cap isn't, 4 years away. Maybe it's a couple years from now. Nika, I hate to say it. I've been saying it so much lately, but maybe.
You know what? I'm stepping in. I'm hijacking this for a second. We're at 107,000, probably break 110, 120 by the end of the year. If we only do to 200K, it's less than 100% gain. All right. If we only hit 100% gain next year, it would be a letdown. And historically, Bitcoin tends to perform the year after the halving. So, are you saying that we're only going to hit 100% next year? That's the gain. We hit 143% this year, right? 2016, we hit 125% before the 20x that we did in 2017. I'm not saying the same thing needs to happen. But I mean, a 5x from here is roughly 500,000 per Bitcoin, right? A 3x from here is roughly 300,000 per Bitcoin. And the general consensus, what I get from someone, and we're going to talk about this, the market psychology behind all of this. Do any of you guys feel euphoric? Do any of you guys feel excited?
No. We were just talking about this. I think I was interacting with Joe Consorti on Twitter last night, and we all just feel exactly the same. There's no excitement whatsoever.
We're all dead inside.
Now. Yeah,
we're all dead inside. So Zach, before I want you to show the box, right? But before we do that, what's your take on the prediction by Saylor? The three things that needed to happen: the change in the FASB accounting rules, the ability for banks to custody Bitcoin, and the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF. All those three things have happened in 2024 before the parabola year of 2025. What's your opinion on all this?
Well, the guy's definitely prescient. I think it really helps with his credibility. I mean, he predicted these things, and as much as I think Saylor can sometimes be a polarizing figure in Bitcoin, especially with his comments about self-custody and that kind of stuff. I mean, he seems to be spot on about this, and even for smaller startups like Foundation, the accounting rules are a really interesting and helpful change, because before we were only able to put Bitcoin on our books at whatever value we purchased it at. And now we're actually going to be able to mark that up on our books. So that's going to make our company look stronger. It's going to help companies with Bitcoin on their books that are private companies or startups have an easier time raising money, because our financials are going to look better. Then of course, for public companies, right, I think it's going to create a huge incentive to bring Bitcoin onto the balance sheet. So I think Saylor was spot on here. I think another aspect that on top, in addition to the ETF, is I believe options trading on the ETFs were recently approved too. So there's just so much money that's going to be flooding in now, and none of us are even close to being in a state where we're even excited yet euphoric. So I just feel, based on that gauge alone, I think we have so much higher to go in 2025.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that assessment. By the way, we're on the verge of breaking 500 live viewers on YouTube. We already broke 100 likes. So let's aim for 200 likes within the first 30 minutes of the show. So if you guys are enjoying the show, smash that like button across all platforms. We're currently sitting at 1,300 live viewers plus the 90 or so of you guys watching on Rumble. So smash the like button on whatever platform you guys like. And of course, share this video if you guys are enjoying it, if you guys find it valuable. But the party is just getting started. Also, Zach, before we move on, could you show the box?
I gotta be careful not to reveal too much, but the box is right here.
That's pretty box.
But you want to know actually something cool? There's two boxes because we got dark colored box as well. So very interesting times.
Why could there be two boxes in two different colors? What could it be?
I have no idea why we do that.
Anyways, guys, you guys are going to have to stay till the end of the show when during the culture segment, Zach is going to reveal the new product that's going to be launched by Foundation Devices. It's going to be changing the game. So many things that I can't say, I want to say, but I can't say just now. So you guys are going to have to stay tuned. But anyways, guys, let's start the show. But before we do that, I have to give a shout out to our lead sponsor. Of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin Well. Bitcoin Well is the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. Enable your independence with the fastest and safest way to buy Bitcoin on-chain or via the Lightning Network in Canada or the USA. What makes Bitcoin Well different than all the other platforms, it is that it's completely non-custodial, meaning as soon as you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com today, put in your email address, takes about 2 to 5 minutes to sign up, and bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to buy Bitcoin. Also, for higher net worth individuals, check out their Bitcoin Well Infinite product. It just launched, and what it is essentially is a white glove experience for individuals that are looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more. So what makes Bitcoin Well Infinite different? If you're tired of dealing with Coinbase and their UI and their support that doesn't get back to you, you have to send an email address and then hope to God that they get back to you within a reasonable period of time. If you're tired of that and you want to deal with a human being every time you buy, sell, or you have any questions about Bitcoin, you want a personal Bitcoin representative, the Bitcoin Well Infinite product is for you. So if you have any questions about it, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Or you can email me at nico@bitcoinwell.com and I'll get you in contact with one of the Bitcoin Well representatives. Also, every time you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, you earn Bitcoin Well points, and you could redeem those points towards the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest. We just tossed a coin into the Wishing Well. First person to scan the QR code has won 500 sats. You win every time you toss a coin into the Wishing Well, and you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million sats every time you toss a coin in. All right, everybody, let's get to the numbers. We have lots to talk about today. Again, smash the like button. We're starting Monday off strong. Let's go. I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to Stamp Seed. All right, guys, you want to make it over to the finish line with your generational wealth. This is exactly why you shouldn't be writing down your seed words on paper. You should be stamping them on titanium. Go to stampseed.com today. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $107,080. Block height, 875,039. 39 sats per dollar, 934. That sounds so good. It's less than 1,000 sats per dollar. Holy cow. That is gnarly. Market cap, 2.12 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 11.47%. Percentage issued, 94.27. Decline from all-time high, 0, because we're at an all-time high. Oh, no, never mind. I jinxed it. And realized monetary inflation, 1.15%. Bitcoin is currently sitting near all-time highs or close to all-time highs, and it's pretty crazy. Anyways, so I have, I don't know if I want to play you guys this video. I kind of just want to talk about this topic. And it's kind of essentially just how markets work, right? And the reason I want to talk about this is Zach was talking about it earlier. I went on a tweet rampage last night. I'll show you some of those tweets. But essentially, you know, we broke 100K and we celebrated at 100K. Everyone was hyped, but you weren't hyped because of the price appreciation. You were hyped because of the milestone of Bitcoin breaking 100K. It's like human beings, like they like the nice round numbers and we're like, oh my God, 6-digit Bitcoin. This is historic. Oh my God, this is crazy. But like percentage wise, we're like, you know, we're like, okay, this is nice. And then the euphoria of that celebrating 100K wore off within half a day or a couple hours, right? And the thing is with markets, right, is that like it's psychological, right? So this is why I like to show the Wall Street cheat sheet, because it applies to Bitcoin. It applies to all markets, right? And me and Opti were talking about this before the show, and I guess we'll all kind of like, you know, go around the panel and just kind of get where everyone's thinking. But essentially, this is how it works. There's a disbelief phase, which is this rally will fail like the others. The hope, a recovery is possible. Optimism, this rally is real. Belief, time to get fully invested. Thrill, I will buy more on margin. Got to tell everyone to buy. Euphoria, I'm a genius. We're all going to be rich. And then it starts to correct. Complacency, we just need to cool off for the next rally. Anxiety, why am I getting margin called? This dip is taking longer than expected. Denial, my investments are with great companies. They will come back. Panic, shit, everyone is selling. I need to get out. Capitulation, I'm getting 100% out of the markets. I can't afford to lose more. Anger, who shorted the market? Why did the government allow this to happen? Depression, my retirement money is lost. How can we pay for all this new stuff? I'm an idiot. And then the cycle just repeats itself, right? But you kind of get PTSD from going through that bear phase. And, you know, the awesome thing about Bitcoin is that Bitcoin's very unique because of the halving cycles. And it's really followed this pattern of 3 green, 1 red since its inception. So what are those 3 green, 1 red? You have 3 green, 3 years of Bitcoin being up on the year. And then you have 1 year of just it slowly, you know, losing value on the year, right? And what tends to happen is the most parabolic year, the year of the parabola so far in Bitcoin's history, maybe next year is going to break that cycle. I don't think so. But the year of the parabola tends to be the year after the halving. That's when the party starts. And then the year after the parabola year is the hangover year. So why am I bringing like all this up? Because Zach was talking about it. Opti was talking about it. I actually tweeted this out last year when we were making an all-time high. I said, I feel nothing. And then I added a little bit more context a little bit later, and the tweet kind of blew up. So it resonated with a lot of people, meaning a lot of people they're thinking about this as well. And I said, no excitement and all-time high anymore. 100K was cool because it was historic. We need to go much higher before actual euphoria kicks in. 5K candles are considered boring now. And if you think about it, a 5K candle now equals a $500 candle at 10K, which is gnarly to say because it's like, you know, $5,000 move. But at the end of the day, if we're at 100K, that's a 5% price swing, which is great maybe in stock market terms, but in Bitcoin terms, you're like, this is boring. Like, what's going on? Now, this is what I think is going to happen. And the reason I believe this is going to happen is because look at where we are. We're at 107,000 and none of us feel euphoria. None of us feel thrill. None of us even feel belief. Most of us are still PTSD'd from the 2021 bull market, which was, in my opinion, and this is debated, was cut short because of the China mining ban. I know a lot of people say FTX. I'm doubling and tripling down. It was the China mining ban. You look at the hash rate, look at the price. It's like a direct correlation, right? And then you think about it, why would the price start falling with the mining ban? Well, all those miners had to sell a lot of Bitcoin to relocate to more favorable jurisdictions. And now you sprinkle in FTX. I think 2021 was cut short. I think we were destined to hit 100K in 2021. So, but a lot of people still have PTSD. We haven't had a proper bull market since 2017. That's a long effing time. That's what, 7 years now. That's a long time, right? So what I tweeted out last night, and I really believe this in my heart, 2025 will be the redemption year for the class of 2017 who got rugged in 2021. So anyways, I thought this would be an interesting topic to talk about, and we're almost at 2,000 live viewers, so appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Smash the like button. Help us break 250 likes within the first hour of the show. I wanted to bring this up because I know we're all feeling this way. We're at all-time highs. Everyone's happy, but we're like chasing the dragon. We're like, yo, like, how come I don't feel anything? Like, I'm like dead inside. Like, what's going on? And it's because of the percentages. $1,000 price movement is 1% at 100K. $5,000 price movement is 5% at 100K. $10,000 price movement, that's 10%. And you're like, only 10%? Like, that's gnarly. Not too long ago, the all-time high of Bitcoin ever was $10,000, right? So the fact that we're having these price swings now, that's why you're not feeling it. That's why you're not feeling the excitement. It's the percentages. Anyways, I'm going to pass it on to Zach. Zach, it seems like you had, and this by chance, we weren't talking about this backstage. It seems like you were having these conversations with some of your friends as well. So what's your take?
I mean, I thought it was just me, I didn't realize. I thought it was just me because I have a hard time feeling like really enthusiastic, about things and so on. So it's very, very validating to hear you say that and to hear everyone else echoing it too. I agree with you. It's the percentages. But I also just think like we all believe, or I don't know if belief is the right word, but we all felt such high conviction that Bitcoin was going to go past 100,000 that when it did, I didn't feel as much exuberance as much as I felt like, okay, good. I was right. We're all right. It's on track. But it very much felt like something that was definitely going to happen if you're a Bitcoiner and you've been in the space for a long time, whether it was 2017 or earlier, you've just been, following everything. And so I think when it happened, it just felt like a little good and validating. I felt like, okay, a little smug, like now I can say I told you so to some people. But I kind of agree with you about the last bull market. I do feel like we kind of got rugged. I think if you look at, and you might know the numbers better than I do, but if you look at like the 2017, time period, I'm pretty sure it like 20x'd, and we did not get that last cycle. And so, I mean, it's possible, right? It's possible that there's so much money flowing in this cycle. Maybe we just 20x again, and then everyone's going to feel extremely exuberant.
Yeah, I mean, bro, and a 20x, guys, from $100,000 Bitcoin right now that's $2 million Bitcoin, right? So, a 5x is $500,000 Bitcoin. And if you've been in the market, and roughly we're all the same class, I'm assuming, 2016, 2017. Zach and I have, look at that. Flex. So we're class 2017, 2016, 2013 in the house. So yeah, I mean, we haven't had a party in Bitcoin for a very long time, right? And the X's don't like, if you're class of 2017, a $500,000 Bitcoin, you're most likely going to be very happy. Like at $500,000 Bitcoin, I am actually worried that Opti will disappear for at least a week or two. So, Opti, what's your take on this? I wanted to talk about this, bro, because it was on my mind. It was clearly on a lot of people's minds. Zach, it was on your mind. Opti, what's your take on this, bro? Because it's like we need bigger fixes, man. Those $1,000 price swings don't cut it anymore, bro, like they used to.
Yeah, I mean, I was even saying it this morning, like, even on Twitter, the $1,000 update every single day, you're just kind of like, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, do we really have to talk about $1,000 updates every time Bitcoin goes up? But yeah, like to your main point, it was really exciting seeing Bitcoin break 100K. Obviously, as a Bitcoiner, we all were kind of looking at that psychological price point, and we knew it was going to get there. I mean, as long as I've been in Bitcoin, it was definitely like we're going to 100K. When I got in, it was roughly around like 10K. We hit 20K, and everyone was like, we're going to 100K this cycle. And then, of course, we had a really long bear market. And then 2021 came, and we didn't hit 100K, even though everyone thought it was priced in. And now it seems like we're breaking 100K. And yes, a lot of people are talking about it, but it doesn't feel like the euphoria that you felt in 2017 when literally everyone was talking about it. And you got to remember that one Wall Street heuristic where it's like once the shoe boy is starting to talk about buying the X product, that's when you're getting into the euphoria phase. And I don't think we're there. And people in the chat are saying that they think we're in like the belief stage. I'm going to argue that I think we're just out of the disbelief. Maybe we're out of the, like, we're just about to get out of the hope phase. To me, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Obviously, I'm always overly bullish, so take it with a grain of salt. And the funny part is when you start using the psychological Wall Street cheat sheet, you can really map it out to everything. Like you see the bears out on Twitter basically saying like, oh, this is the anxiety phase or the capitulation phase. So you can really tailor this to whatever your perspective is on Bitcoin. But personally, I think it is kind of like maybe ending the hope stage, about to break into the optimism stage where like this rally is real, because a lot of us, again, we broke 100K. I'm already bored with 100K. And it's just like, okay, can we really start to see some price pumps? And Nico, you said something interesting in those tweets that, what was it, like $500 is equal to 5K pumps now. And I said this the other day when we actually kissed 100K and it went instantly back down to 90K. It really reminded me of when Bitcoin broke 10K and then went down to 9K. And a 10X candle now kind of feels like a 1X candle, or a 1,000 or 10,000 candle price in Bitcoin feels like the $1,000 Bitcoin candle. And if that's the case, then it does feel like we are a long ways away from hitting a top, because in 2017, when Bitcoin broke 10K, it was towards the end of the the parabolic stage of the Bitcoin price market. It was in November. So that means if that still plays out, it means we basically have like a year of pumping, guys. Like, you think in a year of pumping in Bitcoin, we're only going to get a 1X? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, bigger numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, I think we're kind of in that hope stage, Nico. Like, I think we're breaking into the optimism stage right now. And you're starting to feel that because all the conversation around Bitcoin, mainstream media or corporate press is starting to pick up Bitcoin. You're starting to see that Bitcoin is kind of breaking echo chambers and going into more normie-friendly channels. And it's not just Bitcoiners talking about this. And of course, with everything we've been covering the last couple of weeks, that everything that is changing with Bitcoin, whether it's the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve pushes, institutional capital coming into Bitcoin, the ETF scooping up all the Bitcoin, obviously less Bitcoin being produced by blocks every 10 minutes, like it just doesn't feel like we're in the manic euphoria stage. Like, I personally, within myself, I don't feel like I'm euphoric. I'm not like, I've been telling you guys all year, I'm going to be losing my mind when the price goes up. So I can be a good metric for when we are hitting euphoria. If I start coming on the show and losing it, then maybe we can start to think we're in euphoria stage. But yeah, it still feels like we have a lot of room to run, Nico.
100%. I agree with you. And I actually asked the chat, and we have 62 votes. And I want to get Zach's thoughts as well. What phase are we in? And it seems like 49% agree with you, Opti, where they believe that we are in the optimism phase. About 25%.
Just starting it.
Yeah. So we
Can we throw that chart back up?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So I'm going to pass it on to Zach. Zach, what are your thoughts on this, man? What's going on?
Well, firstly, my thoughts are about this chart. Haven't people been talking about booms and busts for hundreds of years in business literature? So something really important, I think, to realize, because there's always the theories about, like, will this be the super cycle, right? Will we just go to infinity? I don't think so at all, because I think Bitcoin is a perfect, open, permissionless market, right? It's open 24/7. It's global. It's always trading, and there's nothing anyone can do to interfere with that market. And so we actually capture this market cycle that's been documented for hundreds of years, or probably even thousands of years, right? If you go find like records from ancient, Rome or whatever, I'm sure there's probably similar kind of documents about these market cycles. And I think the only reason why we don't see these market cycles for like the US economy is because of the Fed, right? And of all the intervention. And so, our government is constantly intervening to stop these cycles, right? It stops the booms and it stops the busts, or at least it tries to. And, as we know, it doesn't always go that well. But in Bitcoin, that doesn't happen. So, I think we're like very much in the beginning of hope as well with this cycle. I think we're just going to follow exactly the same formula that we did last time. And I was doing some math just for memory. Like, I'm pretty sure when I got into it, I bought it like around 1,000 for the first time in end of 2013. I think it hit like 1,300, and then Mt. Gox collapsed. So that was like my first exposure. And then, 2017, we went to $20,000, right? If you think about like that, that's a 15 times increase, right? From one top to the other top. And then last cycle, we only got like a three something X increase. So I think like a lot of Bitcoiners who've come in the last few years, I fully agree with Nico. Like, I've been robbed of this cycle top. And I think most people have come in the last few years. And so they're not aware of like the dynamics of going from like, $300 in 2016 to $20,000 all within a, 18 or so month period. And I don't see any reason why, with the new administration coming in, with all the money coming in, with all on the legal side, just everything making it easy for money to flow into the space. I don't know what's going to like artificially stop this from happening. Maybe like a fake UFO invasion or something, right, in New Jersey.
Well, they're working on that, Zach.
Yeah, right. The drones. I saw someone in the chat ask, like, is it cheap or is it expensive? Guys, if you bought the top in 2017, you're up 500% right now. If you bought the top in 2021, you're still up 30% on your investment, even if you bought the freaking top. And I totally bought the top. I always buy the top. That's like what Bitcoiners do. We buy the tops. But anyways, I also do want to give a shout out to the stream. We just broke 2,000 live viewers across YouTube and X, and another 100 of you guys watching live on Rumble. And only on YouTube alone, we're at 654 people. It's a pretty good live stream. You guys are enjoying it. Smash that like button. Help us break 300 likes within the first. We're already at 250. Let's bring that up to 350. Help us break 350 likes before the end of the stream. All right, guys.
Hey, wait, Nico. Can I chime in real quick? Because I do kind of want to echo what Zach said, because I've been saying this as well. And you guys kind of summed it up well, because of what we saw in 2021 and the bull market seemingly being cut off. Like, this cycle, I know everyone's kind of doing like 300, maybe 500K predictions, but it does kind of feel like we might have like pent up demand because of the 2021 end of the bull market. So this, I don't know, this cycle could be really different in 2025 in the sense like the price could go a lot higher than any of us are predicting, kind of what Zach was saying, because 2021, we kind of feel like we got robbed, and now we feel dead at 100K. So, hey, who knows what's going to happen, but it does feel like we are going to get an incredible 2025, and, the parabolic season of Bitcoin might get really crazy here. So again, keep stacking them Bitcoin, don't trade that Bitcoin, just hold it, put it in the cold storage, because who knows, it could fly a lot higher than we are thinking. A lot of people are saying 250, 300K. It could blast to 500,000 per coin. Like, who knows?
Who knows? Anyways, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to hit the news. We have tons to talk about. Let's check it out. We're going to talk about Jack Mallers going on the Tim Pool podcast. Tim Pool is one of the most popular creators on YouTube these days. And again, it's Bitcoiners breaking that Overton window, going into the popular mainstream culture. But Jack Mallers actually might have slipped when he said some things, kind of hinting towards Trump's dedication to making this Bitcoin strategic reserve a thing. And there is actually a Forbes article written about it. And the Forbes article, the headline is Trump confirms Bitcoin reserves plans, 15 trillion price boom predicted. That's not a Simply Bitcoin title. That's a Forbes title, bros. So 2025 seems to be looking very, very good. So stay tuned.
15x confirmed. 15x confirmed.
No, we're at 2 trillion, bro. We're at 2 trillion. That's not a, anyways.
Oh, okay.
I want to give a very special shout out to our sponsor, Compass Mining. They make Bitcoin mining accessible to everyone, from beginners to experienced investors. Their turnkey miners gets you online and hashing within 48 hours, making it easier than ever to start your mining journey. Plus, with their active marketplace, you can resell your miner at any time, adding flexibility and value to your investment. Visit their website to access a wealth of resources, learning everything you need to know about Bitcoin mining. Take your first step into the world of Bitcoin mining with confidence. Discover more at compassmining.io. Again, compassmining.io, and see how Compass Mining can power your success. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US, and it integrates seamlessly with their free app called Envoy. Passport is fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a classic feature phone, so you'll know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. It's also air-gapped, meaning Bitcoin stays offline, never touching an internet connection. It's Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes with Passport at foundation.xyz/simply. Get peace of mind for your peace.
All right, this is Optimus Fields, and he's holding a Passport by Foundation Devices. If you use the promo code Simply, you won't get Opti, but you will get a discount to the Passport by Foundation Devices. It's a perfect gift to give to somebody that perhaps is a little bit intimidated by self-custody. The Passport doesn't sacrifice security for convenience. Check the link in the video /podcast description and use promo code Simply to get a discount. Again, does not come with Opti, but you will get a discount. Anyways, getting to today's news segment, the headline from the Forbes article is Trump confirms Bitcoin reserve plans, 15 trillion price boom predicted. Let's get to some of the details. Donald Trump has firmly embraced Bitcoin and crypto this year as a leak reveals Russia could be about to start a Bitcoin Cold War. The Bitcoin price has rocketed past 100,000 per Bitcoin on the back of Trump's November election, with the chief executive of a major Wall Street giant admitting Bitcoin FOMO. Now, as an influential billionaire warns of a looming, quote, debt crisis that could collapse the US dollar, Trump has confirmed he plans to establish a US Bitcoin strategic reserve. And I think that's the end of the article. But I have a clip for you guys, which is quite interesting. Again, it's Jack Mallers on the Tim Pool podcast. Let's check it out.
Gold, and you're going to build a Bitcoin position with that. And it's 1 million Bitcoin is the target. I also know Trump is looking at a day one executive order. There's like
sorry. Day one executive order for a Bitcoin reserve for the United States?
Yeah, but so I know that there's people looking at the Dollar Stabilization Act is it gives the president wide discrepancy to protect the dollar, and there's potential to use a day one executive order to purchase Bitcoin. It wouldn't be at the size and scale of 1 million coins, but it would be a significant position, and it'd be a message that the United States, listen, here's what I think isn't talked about.
Okay. He slipped up there, my friend. Okay. He got ahead of himself. He definitely said something that I don't know if he was allowed to say on air. I could just kind of check by his demeanor, which was quite interesting. One of the things that he also said on the show, which is something that I've been saying for years now, which is I have it pinned to the top of my profile. I refuse to use a money that another man can create for free. It's clearly a line that is resonating with a lot of people because it's a very strong line. I think Jack put it in his own words, and he says, I refuse to use a money that another man can print for free, but it's essentially the same exact message. And that message is resonating with a lot of people because it's as simple as that, right? Like, this is what Bitcoiners are fighting for. You know, as much as we get villainized, as much as the legacy media, which, you know, we posted that clip over the weekend and clearly a lot of people liked it, but clearly some portions of the legacy media are like playing this class warfare, trying to divide people, trying to demonize Bitcoin. I don't think that was a great election strategy, mind you. But you know, I don't think it's working. And what Bitcoiners are asking for is, like, I would say equal, because it's equitable, it's equal. What are we asking for? All we're asking for is to earn and be able to save in a money that another man can't create for free. And what they're advocating for is a system of which they have the unique privilege of being able to create money for free that everyone else has to work for. So which system is a system of privileges and which system is a lot more equal? Bitcoin is clearly the system that's a lot more equal. However, if you're a politician, you know, you're going to have to spin circles and try to justify why you should keep that insane power. And I don't think anybody should deserve that type of godlike power because again, it's not only just being able to create money for free that someone else has to work for. It's also, while you do that, you're actually taking, you're redistributing wealth. And people they're not even aware of that. And then when you talk about it, what they do is that they gaslight you. So they don't even take responsibility for it. They'll blame it on the war. They'll blame it on the supply chains. They'll call it disinformation. So it's not even that, like, oh, we got to reel it in because, you know, our reckless spending is causing massive monetary debasement, which is disproportionately hurting the lower and middle classes the most. No, they gaslight you into thinking it's corporations. They're like, oh, the corporations are price gouging. Listen, it's economics 101, okay? If you price gouge as a corporation, you're creating an opportunity for your competitor not to price gouge, and your customers are going to leave to your competitor who is not, quote unquote, price gouging. The reason that companies have to raise the prices on things is because of inflation. It's literally because of inflation. And if you save and earn in Bitcoin and you're denominating your net worth in Bitcoin, you're going to see everything around you get cheaper. So you can't get gaslit if you're on a Bitcoin standard. You can't. It's like saying, like, no, don't believe your eyes, right? So eventually, you know, there's going to be politicians that are going to have to confront that new reality, that money can exist without inflation. And if money can exist without inflation, why should we be forced as a society to use a money where inflation is forced onto us? Why should we have to do that? Shouldn't we have the choice? Isn't this home of the free, land of the brave? Isn't that what it's all about? I know that there is a social contract on the income tax, and we can get into a very heated debate on that. But the reality is that the income tax is in law, right? It's in law. People agreed on it. However which way you feel about it, it's the law. We have not agreed upon money tax, inflation tax. We have not agreed on that tax. That is something that they just get away with because people are not educated on the matter, which is why it's so important for people like Jack Mallers to get these ideas that are very popular and very well known within the Bitcoin community into the mainstream consciousness. Because not only will it spread Bitcoin adoption, but it will actually get more people on our side of the football. And I'll tell you what, and this is something that Saylor said recently, in Bitcoin, everybody wins. In the fiat system, it's a zero-sum game. There's an elite few that benefit from the quintillion system at the expense of the many. In Bitcoin, Michael Saylor might hold more Bitcoin than you, but if you're holding one Bitcoin, you're benefiting percentage-wise just as much as Michael Saylor. And Michael Saylor can't change the rules of the network or of the system to benefit himself at the expense of everybody else. So, anyways, Zach, I want to get your thoughts on this. Very, very powerful line by Mallers. I said it 2 or 3 years ago, the same line. Very, very powerful. But I'm glad that this messaging is just it's going viral and it's getting into the minds of the people so that people could resonate with that. People could understand that. People could start asking questions about what is money? What is this money that I'm using? And instead of, the divide and conquer methods that I think a lot of politicians use, it actually brings people together under a common cause, right? And of course, that causes Bitcoin. So what are your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, I think Jack is spot on. I really enjoyed him, by the way, just maybe leaking some private information by mistake. Was that yesterday, I think, with that video. And I'm really interested actually, too, in just the legal framework side of things, which I don't think I've seen enough people talking about, but I was reading a lot about this, that, we actually have the ability to put Bitcoin on the US, balance sheet to actually buy Bitcoin for the United States without really needing to do anything except issue an executive order. So I love that he leaked that out, on that interview.
Absolutely, 100%. Opti, what's your take on that, my friend?
Yeah, it does seem like maybe he said something that he wasn't supposed to.
He walked it back real quick, dude.
Yeah, maybe he crossed an NDA real quick or something. But it is very interesting because a lot of Bitcoiners have been saying on Twitter recently, like, oh, well, first of all, we'll have to see day one. He's just kind of pandering. He doesn't really care. He doesn't understand Bitcoin. Let's see with day one what happens if he's going to free Ross. And then, of course, he becomes the president-elect, and they kind of go out and say their motto of like promises made or promises made, promises kept. And now you're seeing that he is, and his children are kind of catching that Bitcoin bug. They do realize that, hey, maybe, backing the dollar with Bitcoin does stabilize the dollar, and maybe this is a good thing. He did kind of go out last week saying something about if you're a BRICS nation, you're trying to drop the US dollar, like we're going to attack you, very forcible language here because BRICS has been posturing about creating their own fiat currency. Obviously, a lot of BRICS nations, particularly Russia, has been kicked off the SWIFT payment system, and they're looking for alternatives. And of course, now you're seeing in the last week, actually pretty much all last week, we were covering that so many new countries are coming out with a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill or proposal or asking questions around it. So ever since that domino has been kicked, it seems like everyone has to take it very seriously. And so we've been saying for a long time on the show that if a country, a first world country, wants to maintain their position as a world leader, then they have to embrace Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the thing that will not only save countries and save these fiat currencies, but it's going to propel them even further. And we've kind of seen what's happened with El Salvador. And remember, El Salvador's GDP was at like 32 billion when they adopted Bitcoin. And so once one of these big nations start to finally go super, balls deep into Bitcoin, I think the game's going to fundamentally change. So that little, maybe violation of an NDA by Jack Mallers. And then maybe we're just speculating here and like we're putting probably I know. But by saying that we're probably it probably wasn't like an NDA is what I'm saying. Like we probably shouldn't keep repeating that because maybe he could have been able to say it. But it is interesting that we'll see, in a couple of weeks, or what, like a month, maybe less. Yeah, a little over a month right now. We'll see what happens day one. We'll see. We did hear, Eric Trump kind of say something on the lines of like, they're going to really seriously talk about the first 100 days, and we're seeing all of the new people being elected for the CFTC, the SEC, et cetera, and they're all, very favorably towards the Bitcoin industry. So it does look like it's a high priority. And let's not forget, the Bitcoin lobbying was like $130 million, which is a significant amount in terms of lobbying groups. And so it's becoming very clear that as a political movement, as a voting bloc, being a Bitcoiner and fighting Bitcoiners has actual consequences. And so we'll see what happens day one. Like, will they do it?
Democratic political consequences, as in if you fight the Bitcoin industry, we have to be specific because we are on YouTube, Opti.
I didn't say anything bad.
Clearly, right? It wasn't a winning political strategy to go against the industry. And I think that had electoral consequences. And, Mark Cuban was actually caught basically saying, she's like, I don't think it was a good idea to go after the industry. And it makes sense. Like, if you run the numbers, it's like estimated that between 40 and 60% of people under the age of 35 own Bitcoin or own crypto. And if you take a look at Trump's electoral numbers, Trump won a record amount of the young vote, which usually swings Democratic. And Mark Cuban was basically saying, like, I don't think it was wise attacking the industry, which was a huge portion of Operation Choke Point 2.0. Zach, you were running a Bitcoin business. We were running a Bitcoin media business. There was many points last year where we were just like, this year, essentially earlier this year, me and Opti were just like, do we have to move to El Salvador? Like, are they attacking self-custody? Like, they're locking the samurai guys, and they forced our hand to get political. Bitcoiners would not have gone political if we were not attacked as an industry as a whole. Now, according to the media, some portions of the media that represent the Democratic Party, like CNBC, it seems like they're doubling down on that strategy. I don't think that's a good strategy, in my opinion. And I don't think that Bitcoin is a partisan issue as much as they try to make it one. I think it's, for right and left. I don't think it's political. And, the fact that they're trying to make it such, or at least create an opportunity for the opposing party to capitalize on it, I think it's a huge blunder, in my opinion. So anyways, we'll see towards the future. But anyways, guys, we're going to get to the culture. We're going to be making the announcement has already happened. The live stream has happened, but we're going to take advantage of Zach joining us on the show today to talk about Foundation Devices' new product. And we can't talk about it because it's after 1:07 p.m. So we're going to give you guys all the details. And if you guys want, drop your questions in the chat so that Zach is able to answer those questions. We'll be right back. Let's hit the culture. Here we go.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, HIVE Digital Technologies. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's been battle tested through every possible market. And as the first with an AI strategy, HIVE continues to redefine the future of sustainable energy. Also, gotta casually drop this in here, HIVE consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're changing the game. Learn more by following them at HIVE Digital Tech or check out their website, hivedigitaltech.com.
All right, everybody. I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, BitBlockBoom. Guys, this is going to be one of the best Bitcoin conferences of the year. It's going to be April 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. Texas. BitBlockBoom is the perfect conference you want to go to if you're trying to get a job in the industry, you're trying to network with some of your favorite Bitcoiners. The whole Simply Bitcoin crew is going to be there. Nico, Opti, Rustin, Dante, Jacob, Sophie, and perhaps the Zoomer Twitter crew as well. You guys definitely don't want to miss one of the best Bitcoin conferences of the year, BitBlockBoom. If you use promo code BBB21, you get $100 off of your ticket. Anyways, guys, I'm going to play you guys a clip of part of the live stream, the announcement, the keynote announcing the new product launch by Passport. Let's check it out. Here we go.
Today, I am thrilled to introduce not a hardware wallet, but the world's first personal security platform. Introducing Foundation's third generation device, Passport Prime. Passport Prime empowers you to secure your entire digital life with one device. Passport Prime offers the same robust Bitcoin hardware wallet capabilities as our Gen 2 Passport. It supports most Bitcoin software wallets like Sparrow, Blue Wallet, Nunchuck, Casa, Theia, and many more. Prime offers a best-in-class multi-sig experience alongside numerous power user features like temporary seeds. Passport Prime is more than just a hardware wallet. It's a Swiss Army knife.
I saw someone in the chat say goosebumps. Yeah, man, dude, like, yeah. And someone said, feels like an Apple ad. I actually had the pleasure of handling this device in Nashville. And Zach basically said, like, you know, if you talk about this, we're going to cancel your sponsorship. So I haven't been able to say anything about it. But I've been really, really excited. And it looks absolutely beautiful. I think it's a game changer. Comes in two different colors, I might add, white and black. Oh, sorry about that, Zach. And yeah, man, I think you absolutely crush it. The keynote was so different, so different to the industry. But what I'm really excited about this device in particular is the fact that it's much more than a hardware wallet, right? It's not just a Bitcoin hardware wallet. The Passport, by the way, that we promote every single day, that's a Bitcoin hardware wallet, and you guys are still going to be making that. But this is a step above that. This is a device that has more capabilities. So could you talk a little bit about that, Zach? And again, if anyone has any questions, please drop them in the chat, and then we have Zach here to answer them live.
Thanks, guys. I'm really excited. I was nervous the whole time because I was hoping the logistics of everything would work properly as I was hanging out with you on the stream here. And it looks like it did, except our site is crashing, I think, because too many people are going to it right now. I think this is the first time this has ever happened. So it's good and it's also bad. But yeah, this is Passport Prime. It's the world's first, as we call it, personal security platform. The idea is that instead of a hardware wallet, and I want to emphasize we're not calling it a hardware wallet because I don't think it's a hardware wallet. I think it really is something new and different. And like you guys said, like we're still selling Passport, you know, the top rated Bitcoin only hardware wallet on our site. We're shipping that now in time for the holidays. That's not going to change. But we want to make something that would make it easy to secure your entire digital life. I'm sure you guys and a lot of other people listening use an array of devices to store all their stuff, right? You'll use like hardware wallets. People will have, you know, cold cards, Trezors, ledgers, YubiKeys, or those kinds of things to do all their like FIDO 2FA. If they even do that, you know, most people don't even take that step because it's too difficult. They'll use a Google Authenticator to store their 2FA codes. on their phone, which is kind of weird because like the phone is your primary computing device. So like you don't want to store your 2FA codes for your most important accounts on your phone. And then also like I and our co-founders, and I know a lot of other people who use hardware encrypted flash drives to secure all their most important stuff, like with physical keypads on them. So our view was like, we need to just roll everything up into one device. We need to make it more of a platform where we provide an awesome set of apps at launch, but then we also allow third-party developers to come make apps, just like how they make up apps, you know, they make apps for the iPhone or Android phone. So we're going to be expanding, you know, with an entire open developer ecosystem to really rival and hopefully leapfrog Ledger's developer ecosystem. We want to have every developer who makes a wallet, a service to come make an app, you know, to run on Passport Prime. So there's probably a lot more I could say about it, but I'm really excited. It comes in 2 colors finally. You know, packaging is beautiful. It comes in Arctic copper, which is white with the copper. And then it also comes in midnight bronze, where you got all black with the bronze. So I'm really excited about it. And yeah, just an awesome day for us. And it's cool that it's all-time high today. And then also we did not even trying to, it was a 21-minute keynote. So a lot of good symbolism today.
Very, very cool. By the way, guys, if you want to see that keynote, we retweeted it from the Simply Bitcoin account, so you guys will be able to see it. Or, of course, you can search Foundation on X. I also have another clip for you guys. Let's check it out, and then we'll talk about it, Zach.
In addition to building a new operating system, we've reinvented Bluetooth. Bluetooth is convenient, but so many of us are uncomfortable with its security trade-offs. It's why our first and second gen Passport use a QR code based air gap. No wireless comms, limited attack surface, better security, right? Well, for Passport Prime, we've created a new protocol called Quantum Link. Quantum Link provides the security of an air gap over Bluetooth. So how does this work? Passport Prime contains a dedicated Bluetooth chip separate from the security processor running KeyOS. This Bluetooth chip can only send and receive messages that are already encrypted using quantum-resistant tech. To establish the end-to-end encrypted connection, simply scan the QR code displayed on Passport Prime's screen during setup. And that's it. Keys are automatically exchanged and an encrypted tunnel is established. Quantum Link provides the security of an air gap with the convenience of Bluetooth, enabling real-time comms with your phone, wireless KeyOS updates, and so much more. But we're not stopping there. We've also redefined the onboarding experience to make personal security more accessible to newcomers. Instead of writing down seed words, Passport Prime comes with NFC key cards. Simply tap 2 of the cards during setup to your Passport Prime, and that's it. KeyOS uses a 2 of 3 Shamir secret sharing configuration to split your seed into 3 pieces. 2 of the pieces are stored on cards, and the 3rd is stored on your Envoy mobile app. Our Magic Backup technology enables an iCloud backup-like experience for your Passport Prime. All of your device's data and settings are first encrypted on device and then sent to Foundation servers through Envoy. There's no username, there's no password, and there's no email address. We know absolutely nothing about you. And no seed words ever leave your device. You store the key cards, and we simply store an encrypted blob of your settings and your metadata. So if you ever need to replace your Passport Prime, simply connect it to Envoy and tap 1 of your 2 key cards. That's it. It's that simple. Your device will be restored
I kept hearing the word simple and simply. It must be a coincidence. Anyways, we got the first question in the chat from Matthew J. It says, how many secure elements?
Yes, so Passport Prime has 1 secure element that's separate from the main processor, but the main processor we're using, you can almost think of as like some kind of secure element in itself. It is a security chip, so we're using a security chip made by Microchip. It's a security microprocessor, and it's really locked down. It has a lot of advanced security features like ARM Trust Zone, active tamper protection. So we have physical tamper switches in the device so that if you try to open it, it'll wipe itself, which is a first, and it's really cool. And then we also, of course, have a separate secure element that stores some of the key data. So there's some key data stored securely on the main security chip, which is, I think, a more secure chip than we have in the current gen Passport today. Then we have that separate secure element. We have a lot of cool features like active tamper protection.
Incredible. Very, very cool stuff. It also looks pretty, man. It looks nice.
Yeah, that one's sexy.
Right. Yeah. We got I like the I like the what was the name? It was Arctic. It was Arctic.
Oh yeah, we got this was fun. Actually, I was working on that only a week ago with Bitcoin Q&A. We're doing Arctic Copper and then Midnight Bronze is
Midnight Bronze.
So we don't call them colors. We call them colorways, right? Because usually you think like, oh, it's black, it's white. But the whole point is like, we don't just want to give you an all black device, right? Like if we're going to give you a dark mode device, which was probably our most requested feature. And by the way, it's going to have a dark mode UI option as well, which is going to be really cool. A lot of people have been asking for that. Like we don't just want to give you an all black device. We want to bring in the brand colors, right? So you got the bronze going on. And then, we're so detail oriented, we even match it to the packaging where you get the bronze color to match the bronze device. So it's really cool. It's our best packaging yet by far too. It feels very Apple quality, I think much more than anyone else in the industry.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, it looks incredible. And I'm definitely going to get my hands on it. And I'm really looking forward to it. Also want to give a shout out to the price. We're almost at 108,000, but again, I feel nothing inside. Anyways, dude, this is awesome. This is super cool. You can reserve it right now. I'm hearing some people in the chat are having some difficulties. Yes, that's because a lot of people are trying to do it all at once.
Yep.
You head over to foundation.xyz/simply, and bada bing, bada boom. Will people be able to get a discount on this?
Yes, I believe how we set it up is that if you're making a pre-order for the early access, which is limited to 1,000 units, you can use the Simply code to get the discount. I don't think we do that for the reservation, but like the reservation is $49. But of course, when you go next year and you pay the balance, right? Because the $49 is like a refundable deposit, you'll be able to use the Simply code for that as well and get the discount. So if you go to the /simply page, it might auto add like a normal Passport to your cart. So you may just need to type in the code simply or like add a Passport Prime early access pre-order to your cart. But yeah, you should be able to get all that. And let me know if there's any issues. I'll make sure that's handled right away. The site is really buckling right now under all the traffic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, guys, this is for release in early 2025, right in time for the Parabola year. And again, it's not just a Bitcoin hardware wallet. It also has a ton of different functionality. The 2FA one sounds really exciting. And again, getting that 2FA off your phone, right, on an air gap device, I think is pretty cool. So yeah, man, this is awesome. This is really cool. I don't know if we planned this, but so happy to have you on the show today. The day of your new product release, so, and I'm really glad that a lot of people are, taking a look at it. You did mention earlier, and I want to ask you this, and also guys, we're on the verge of breaking 400 likes on the live stream. So, smash the like button. Appreciate it. We're like 4 likes away, 9 likes away to be specific. You did mention that it has, because one of the things that I always do, especially for like higher net worth individuals that are older, I don't want them on a single sig, but I want them to take advantage of multi-sig, but perhaps they don't have the technical know-how to set up a multi-sig. So I always kind of recommend either Casa or Nunchuck. I think I like to. You kind of mentioned, and the device has multi-sig capability. I know that Casa recently announced that it added integration with the Passport 2, which is the one that we do the add-on every single day on Simply. So could you talk a little bit about that? About it's what is the correct technical term? Wow, it's slipping my mind. The adaptability? No, that's not the right term. The compatibility. Booyaka, nailed it.
Well done.
The compatibility between we're raising the goal, everybody. 420 likes is the real goal. So we're at 404. Help us break 420 likes. So what is the compatibility between a lot of these kind of like multi-sig companies that are super, super useful for people that perhaps are not as tech savvy?
Yeah, so Passport Prime is compatible with everything that our current gen Passport is compatible with on day one. Because Passport Prime, in addition to having a lot more connectivity methods, does still have, you know, the camera where you do the QR code based stuff. And so everything that Passport supports today, Casa, Thea, Nunchuck, Sparrow, Spectre, Blue Wallet, and there's probably like 10 more, you know, we support as well. So it's really important to us to support and be compatible with like every single software wallet in the space. Passport works really well with our mobile app Envoy, but Envoy is more of like your basic, straightforward Bitcoin software wallet where it does not do multi-sig right now. So we highly encourage, you know, multi-sig with either one of the services that we integrate with or any of the great wallets. And actually, Bitcoin Q&A and I are going to be in New York City at PubKey tomorrow night to do a multi-sig workshop with Passport. For anyone who's, you know, in town, we're going to be there for a couple hours tomorrow night.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. And I can't recommend that enough, guys. Like, you know, especially if you've been in Bitcoin a couple of years, you know, your net worth starts to grow. Before you know it, you know, you start to have a good amount of your net worth in Bitcoin. And you obviously want to do that correctly. So, you know, I really recommend kind of learning multi-sig and kind of doing a deep dive in that. There's so many companies that make it easy and convenient. If you're a little bit, you know, if the tech side of it is a little bit intimidating. So yeah, I mean, and you know, when you remember this, Zach, like when we were getting into this industry, we've known each other a long time now. When we were getting into this industry, man, like, you know, taking self-custody was not easy, right? The Envoy app paired with the Passport makes it so that like, you know, it is extremely easy to take self-custody without sacrificing security. And what I like about the Envoy app is that it gives you choices. So you have the ability to, like, let's say you don't want to trust Foundation's node, you want to trust your own node, you can actually set up the Envoy app where it connects with your own node, right? It has the capability of doing that. And what's awesome about Envoy, and I recommend this a lot to people that are just like getting into self-custody, is it makes it convenient. It makes it easy, right? You don't have to go through this kind of SD card type of experience. You know, it is getting easier, you know, around the industry, but I really feel like you guys really led the movement there in terms of just with the camera and the thing, and it's so easy to sign, and it's like boom, boom, bang. So yeah, man.
Well, this one's going to be even better, and I hope we'll lead here as well, because we actually have, as you played in the announcement there, a snippet, we have Bluetooth now on the device, which is polarizing, but I think when you see how we did it, you'll be pretty impressed, where we put the Bluetooth on a separate chip and we end-to-end encrypt everything before it gets to the Bluetooth chip. So we call it Quantum Link, the protocol. It's really cool, but it allows you to set up Passport with Envoy like in a couple seconds with your phone. You don't have to do the QR code scans anymore with Passport Prime. So I'm really excited about that. But then also we shipped 3 of these NFC backup key cards, you know, in the box with Passport Prime, and they're all in their own individual Faraday sleeve, where you can even write like a label on them. So you literally just take these cards out, and when you're setting up the device, you just tap it to the device and it smears up your seed into different pieces, and then it's stored on the card. So I mean, of course, you're able to view and back up your seed words if you want to, but like I think we're going to really pioneer here a new way to do backups where you just tap and you're all backed up automatically. And then there's an optional service called Magic Backups that takes an end-to-end encrypted copy of all the settings and data, not the seed words. The seed words never leave your possession, but it takes the end-to-end encrypted copy of like everything on the device besides that, but encrypts it by the seed words and can back it up through to our servers. So like if you do lose the device, you have so much stuff on here, right? You have 2FA codes, you have all these settings, you might have other apps, you have security keys, you have labels, you have multi-sig configurations. You literally just tap one card to the device and all your stuff comes back onto it, like iCloud backup and recovery, and so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I think hopefully we'll look back at this in a couple of years and we'll really pioneered some new stuff to make the onboarding and the backups like much easier for new people. Because, the QR codes can still be confusing, right? Or even the SD card backup can still be confusing. And I want to get as many people as possible, doing self-custody.
Absolutely. So, in traditional computing, right, the theory back in the 90s and 80s was that everyone was going to have a computer in their house, right? And it wasn't until, Steve Jobs came around and made that computer human friendly that, computing actually went mainstream. And, when I talk about computing going mainstream, I'm talking about the thing I'm holding in my hand, right? Which is your iPhone or Android device. That's what made computing mainstream. Like the theory in the 90s was that everyone was going to have a laptop with a keyboard. And that was how computing was going to go mainstream. That's not how it worked out, right? And I think, what he realized was, human nature isn't going to change. So you have to kind of build the product around that. So my question to you is this, like, is this kind of like the philosophy behind the foundation? Is this the iPhone moment for hardware wallets?
I mean, that's what I hope, right? But even think about the iPhone moment. The iPhone was combining a bunch of disparate, fragmented devices that all had decent, adoption. But I think we're really limiting like what we could do with our computers and our technology. So like you had the iPod, and like by that time, almost everyone had an iPod. You had like the Palm Pilot or the PDA, which, not as many people had, only like the ultra early adopters had. And then you had cell phones that everyone had. And so, it's a combination of devices that are popular with some stuff that maybe is not as popular, but they had a vision to roll that all up into one device and then to introduce a app store, right? An SDK developer platform. I don't know what would have happened with the iPhone if the app store had never happened. And so we're kind of taking a similar approach where firstly, we're trying to solve some of the key pain points, like with hardware wallets, right? Like the setup, the onboarding. People get confused about, they have a device that's offline. It doesn't know anything about itself, like the device, the hardware wallet doesn't have a state. It doesn't know how much Bitcoin it's storing or anything like that. It's just storing the keys. That can be a point of confusion for people. And so we're trying to like address a lot of those pain points, roll up these different device categories that are basically used by only ultra early adopters right now and get it to like a level of quality and usability that another order of magnitude more people will use it. Because I say in the keynote, if you guys, for anyone who goes to our site and watches the keynote, we did the math. We think hardware wallet adoption amongst cryptocurrency users, and I have to say cryptocurrency users, because it's like the whole space, it's maybe like 2.5%, which is like minuscule. Like it's so small. We haven't even got into the early adopters. We're at like the ultra early. They call them like the innovators and stuff. If you look at the technology diffusion charts, which we have one of those charts in the keynote as well. And so I'm like, how do we go from 2.5% to like 10% and then beyond, right? Because as we all know, if you don't take self-custody, like what's the point? You got to take self-custody for Bitcoin to succeed. So we're trying to chip away at a lot of those barriers, make a much better product that's, easier to use, but then also try to allow developers to just ship apps for it so that more and more apps can integrate self-custody, right? Because, right now you want to integrate with hardware wallets. We got some good integration with QR codes with Passport, but like you look at most of these companies, they try to integrate with the Ledger. It's a nightmare. I don't want to see Ledger as like the market leader here, right? I don't want to see them being, the $1 billion company that is pushing everyone. And I mean, you go into Ledger Live, you go onto their social feed, it's just horrible to look at. And I think we need hopefully more principled, right, leadership and much better products, and making it much easier for developers to integrate, secure offline storage onto a physical offline device. And so, yeah, I mean, you can tell I'm very inspired by Apple. I mean, I collect the original, I think, different posters. I don't have space to hang them all up. And we always try to get more and more, Apple level in terms of the hardware.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, check out the new Passport Prime. Go to foundation.xyz. Go check out the website right now. Reserve yours today. The reservations have gone live, and they're planning to release the product in early Q1 or Q2 of 2025. So yeah, go check it out. In the meantime, you guys can get yourself a passport today. And if you use promo code Simply, you'll get a small discount. Anyways, guys, that was today's show for December 16, 2024. I'm your host, Nico. It's my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields, always optimistic. Our special guest for today, Zach Herbert, CEO and founder of Foundation Devices. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. And we'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.